All right, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is day one of the 5-day Healthy Brain Challenge. So I want to welcome you. This is my first time going live in the group. And come on in and bring someone with you. Hey, Sharon, welcome, welcome. Hey, Heather, welcome. Welcome to the 5-day Healthy Brain Challenge. Hey, Charles, welcome, 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 welcome. So today, I'm so excited because actually this whole month, people don't realize that. Hey, Cuz, welcome. Sharon is saying hi to everyone. Hey, Lawrence, welcome, welcome. What people don't realize is that this month is National Traumatic Brain Injury Month. And also later on in the week, there's a week in this month that is Brain Awareness Week. And the brain is so important, we don't think about it, but what we actually know is that later on, when we get to about 85, 1 in 2 people will have Alzheimer's disease, right? We know the brain is so important. We've seen our dear B. Smith on TV, such a once vibrant woman, a model, and now she's struggling with Alzheimer's. We have no cure. We have no cure, but what we know is that we can have treatment. So I want to introduce myself to you. My name is Dr. Diane Thompson. I am triple board certified in physical medicine and rehabilitation, lifestyle medicine, and brain injury medicine. And I help people with neurological conditions. I help them adjust, adapt, and attain a new normal and a new lease on life. I also help people like you who are trying to get and stay healthy because health is so important. I help you with lifestyle medicine strategies to help prevent, halt, and even reverse some of those chronic diseases that you thought you could never reverse. The studies show us otherwise, but not every doctor is telling you that. So I'm out there sharing that information with you. So why am I interested in the brain? I'm interested in the health of the brain because I've been touched personally. My cousin Sheena is on here. Our wonderful grandmother who died some time ago had dementia. There's a grand aunt of mine who was once so vibrant. She has dementia. She probably wouldn't recognize me now. I work in a place where every day I see people who've had a stroke, who've had MS, who've had brain tumor, who've had Parkinson's, and different cognitive issues, Alzheimer's disease. I see them every single day. And these were people who were once vibrant like you and I. And now because the brain has been taken over, they are no longer the person they were. So we don't have cures, but we have prevention, and many of us are making classic mistakes that's actually damaging our brain. And so I want to share with you over the next 5 days some strategies. They're simple, but they will make a huge difference in your health. And the way the challenge is going to work. So first of all, hopefully you signed up on the Healthy Brain Challenge website. So it's www.healthybrainchallenge.com. The reason is I'm able to send you things. So if you had signed up, you should see in your email an ebook called 30 Brain Healthy Foods. That's really important because that's going to give you a list and explains how it helps your brain. And also you have that list to go through as we're doing the challenge. So if you haven't signed up, the link is here. Go ahead and sign up so we can get those out to you. Throughout the whole week, I'll be sending you free things to help you with this challenge. The other thing is, if you have, we're going to be able to send you every day the things you need to do to participate in the challenge. And each day there's a different thing. And by the end of the week, if you've done everything, we actually have gifts for you because we want to encourage you along. Now, I told you why I am interested in the brain's health. I'm going to tell you why you should be interested in the brain's health. The first thing is this. Heart disease, which is actually the #1 killer, has been going down. It's actually decreased by 11%. Deaths from Alzheimer's disease is up 123%. Here's another thing. I mentioned this earlier. If you live to the ripe age of 85, and the truth is many of us are living older and older, 1 in 2, if we continue doing everything we're doing, 1 in 2 people will have Alzheimer's disease. And the other thing is that Alzheimer's disease begins decades before it shows up. So right now, you and I can be having damage to the brain that's going to contribute to Alzheimer's, and we don't know it. When it shows up is not when it started. It started decades before. That's why you have to fix it now. The other thing is, in the United States, every 65 seconds, someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and that's just one form of dementia. There are other cognitive impairments that's going to affect other people. The other thing is 2/3 of Americans with Alzheimer's are women, like me. And older African Americans are more likely affected. And as I mentioned before, there are no cures, but we do have prevention. And that's the key. And that's what I'm going to share with you over the next 5 nights. So tonight, the first thing I'm going to talk about is nutrition. I use what we call neurons. So neurons, by the way, are brain cells. There are types, we have different types of neurons, but neurons are essentially nerve cells, and these cells are found in the brain. And I use this, basically, neurons, as a framework to help guide you through. And the first thing we're going to talk about is nutrition. We actually know, we know this for sure, the studies show it, no matter what they tell you, the best type of nutrition to preserve your brain's health is a whole food plant-based nutrition. The studies show that people who eat vegetables have better memories, have better cognition than those who don't. Now, as I said, you want to go ahead and get that ebook. It's free. It helps you to go through and see some of the foods you should be eating. Now, what I want to share with you, first of all, are 6 foods or patterns of eating that are bad for your brain. And then I'll quickly summarize some of the things that you should be eating. So the first thing is the standard American diet. We call it the SAD diet. Most of us eat that unless we're paying attention. It is filled with sugars, which is anti-inflammatory. It is low in omega-3 and generally high in omega-6. It has a lot of calories, but low nutrients. It's filled with processed foods, the white flour, white sugar, white rice, pastries, cookies, all of those, breads. It also has a lot of meats and meat-like substances, and excessive caffeine and excessive alcohol. I notice I said excessive because there is some evidence that some of these things in moderation is okay, but once you get to a certain level, it becomes problematic. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the standard American diet increases your risk of obesity. And what we've seen in studies is the bigger you are, it's almost like your brain and your body has a reciprocal relationship. The bigger you get, the more obese you get, it seems the smaller the brain tends to be. So you really want to avoid that standard American diet. The next food that you want to avoid is something called diacetyl, D-I-A-C-E-T-Y-L. This is important to me because my husband loves microwave popcorn. And that microwave popcorn with the artificial butter flavoring, that's what diacetyl is. And it crosses the blood-brain barrier. It is linked in many studies to dementia, to cognitive decline. So how are you going to avoid this? If you're someone who loves popcorn, and popcorn is actually healthy, it's just you don't want this microwave butter flavored popcorn. You can pop it in an air popper if you want, but avoid the butter flavor microwave popcorn. The third food that is known to be toxic to the brain is MSG, monosodium glutamate. This used to be very popularly used in a lot of seasoning. Chinese food had a lot of it. When you look at broths and ramen noodle, you know, the packets that you empty out in the ramen noodle, shouldn't be eating that anyway. But those seasonings and a lot of canned soups tended to have a lot of MSGs, and it got a bad name. So they didn't put MSGs on the packet anymore because they didn't want people to recognize it. So now it will go by different names. But what you want to know is that this is bad for your brain. So it may be labeled sometimes as natural flavoring or plant protein extracts. Those words that are dropped in there is usually MSG. And what we find is that, first of all, it's addictive, and that's why they used to put it in a lot of foods. It is very addictive. And the other thing with MSG is that they found that the way the body retains fat when you eat foods that are made with MSG compounds, you tend to hold on to the fat. You don't burn it up at all. But the other important thing is that it causes cognitive decline. There's some people who would get migraines when they have MSGs in food. They could tell, they're like, this food has it in. So just be aware that you want to look out for it. You know, if you're making your own food, you're cooking from scratch and you're making your stuff fresh, then you're not going to put that in there. It's when you're eating these processed foods or eating out a lot that people tend to put it in there. The fourth brain toxic food is mercury. Now, mercury, most times, we can get it in other ways, but when we're talking about nutrition, we often get it in seafoods. So the fish that tend to be high in mercury include tuna, swordfish, king mackerel, and I'm from the Caribbean, we eat king mackerel, marlin, bluefish, halibut, and grouper. They tend to be on the higher side of mercury. And again, what happens is that the mercury will cross the blood-brain barrier, gets to the brain, accumulates in the brain, is toxic to the neurons in the brain. And so you get that memory issues, behavior issues, mood swings, and so forth. So you really want to avoid that. Look, if you feel that you must have fish, well, some of the fish that have lower mercury include wild salmon, include shrimp, catfish, clam, and fresh trout. So if you must have it, then you do that. Again, where are you going to find the lowest mercury? Plant foods, plant-based foods, right? So if you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables, your tendency to get mercury accumulation is much lower. Number five in our 6 foods that are toxic to the brain is aspartame. And I was guilty of having this. I understood the dangers of sugar. Sugar is very anti-inflammatory. There are lots of studies that show that sugar is not good for you. But what happened is I decided, like many people some time ago, to switch to, hey Heather, hey Maureen, hey Ollie, lots of people have come on in. Thank you guys for coming in. Hey Melton, come on in. Thank you. Marlene, Erica, thank you guys for coming in. So many of us, we were trying to avoid the sugar, because we know sugar is bad for you. There are many studies. I can do a whole nother live on that that shows the damaging effects of sugar on pretty much all the organs, cancer, like different things. So many of us stopped doing the sugar, and what we thought it was healthy to do the sugar substitute, and then we found that it's not. So aspartame, you may see it under the name of Equal or NutraSweet. And it's often found in diet sodas, it's found in diet juices, candies, it's often found in gums, these diet gums or sugar-free gums. And what it does is that it has the side effect of memory loss. They've actually done studies where there's some linkage to Alzheimer's disease. So what do? If you're someone who can't, you must have some sweets in the foods you eat. So far, we know that stevia is actually a herbal extract. This one, it was being used in Japan for decades before it got to this country. And as of now, we don't know of any of these cognitive side effects with stevia. What I would almost recommend to you, and I've done this myself, is try the thing without the sugar. You actually will get used to it. You'll get used to it. So try the thing without the sugar. Sometimes if you really feel like you have to have it, another good thing may be dates. I have dates in my refrigerator. And sometimes if I feel I want, because this is a fruit, if I feel I want something a little sweetened, I'll add a little bit of the dates in there. So find other ways and just get accustomed to eating it and drinking the thing without the sugar. But these sugar substitutes, they are actually toxic to the brain. And number six, and this is a really important one. These are called AGEs. A lot of people don't even know about them. AGEs are advanced glycation end products. That's a lot. They're actually called aging toxins or gerontotoxin. So if you think of the term gerontology, it comes from aging. So these are aging toxins. They're aging to the body and also to the brain. They accelerate the aging process. It is believed that AGEs cause cross-linking of protein in the body. They eventually lead to inflammation, and they cause increased aging in you and also in your brain. So the question becomes, where do we get these AGEs? Actually, most processed foods have AGEs, cheeses have AGEs, and meats, especially when you cook them at high temperatures. So, you know, I'm a Jamaican girl and I do some jerk chicken and we like the grilling. And actually, unfortunately, grilling and broiling tends to increase AGEs in the meat. So if you're looking at something that you stew or you boil or you steam, compared to grilling or broiling, the AGEs are very high and they're very toxic to your body and to your brain. You know, if it's something you're not doing every day, it's one thing, but try to avoid it. If you know that this will lead to cognitive impairments, and we know that, it accelerates the shrinkage of your brain. We know that. And in fact, we see in Alzheimer's disease elevated levels of AGEs. So let me tell you what you want to do. The foods, as I said, the foods that tend to have high levels of AGEs, processed food, cheese, and meat. And if you're going to eat, you know, like the meat, you want to make sure the way you prepare it. If you steam it, stew it, or boil it, you tend to have a little less, but it's very high when you grill and broil. Here's the thing. Fruits and vegetables have very low levels of AGEs. Actually, if you were to eat the apple raw, the AGE level's extremely low, almost insignificant. If you put that apple on a grill, the AGE level goes up. So when you're burning things and grilling things, we love doing that, but it's really not the healthiest way to eat. But with the apples, it goes up a little bit. But here's the interesting thing. It's never as high as if you were doing the meat. So the truth is, a plant-based diet is your best protection. Now, I told you all the stuff in terms of foods that are bad for your brain, toxic for the brain, shown to cause cognitive decline. And I'm telling you, these cognitive decline, they happen decades before. You don't want to wait till you're 70 or 80 to be trying to fix it. Right now, what we're eating, what we're doing are actually contributing to these decline, and they show up decades later. So now is the time to fix that. So what are the things that are great for you? As I said, brain healthy food, and I did send out the 30 brain healthy food. I sent you that free ebook, so make sure you open it and take a look. All the plants that you eat, the fruits and vegetables, they have antioxidants. These antioxidants will fight the free radicals that go there to damage your brain. They will fight them off. The polyphenols keep the brain healthy, and you get these things from plants. So people, the thing that you should be focusing on is increasing the plants in your diet. What are some of the top brain healthy plants? The berries. Many studies have shown that. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, acai berries, all very good for the brain. Your cruciferous vegetables, so the cauliflower, the cabbage, the broccoli, excellent for the brain. Your leafy, your green leafy, like your kale, your spinach, your collards, again, protective of the brain. Another thing people don't think about that's very protective for the brain is the citrus fruit. These are excellent. Studies out there have shown that they are beneficial for the brain. So you've learned 6 toxic ways of eating or foods that are bad for the brain. The studies show it, but we continue to eat it. We feed it to our children. I don't know why, right? So the studies show it. We know it now. And I've told you of the top brain healthy foods, and I've also sent you an ebook that consists of them. So here is your challenge. Challenge number 1. And it's a simple one. Just pick one Just pick one of those foods that are healthy for your brain and include them in your meal tomorrow. Just one. So if you're having oatmeal, throw some blueberries in there. If you're having a lunch meal, get yourself some broccoli or some cauliflower, or just open up the ebook, find one of the brain healthy foods. I've given you 30, and add one to your meal tomorrow. Take a picture of it and share it on this Lifestyle Medicine RX page, or just tell me you've had it. I'm going to believe you. All right. And as I told you, by the end of the week, by Friday, if you've done each of these, first of all, you're doing yourself a favor, right? You're preserving your brain. Every time I look at B. Smith, and I remember that once vibrant woman, and now she's a shell of herself, and we can't reverse it. People, we have to prevent. We can't reverse it when it happens. So every time I see that, I think about it. So one of these foods, take a picture or tell me you've had it. I will believe you. By the end of the week, if you've done one of everything that we talk about, you're going to be in the runnings, but we have 3 different gifts. 3 different gifts. All right, so that's it. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back here at 8 o'clock. Come back. Bring somebody with you, because we're going to share tips again to keep that brain healthy, and we're going to move to the E in neurons. And I'm going to try to bring a guest. If I can make it work, I will bring the guest in, because sometimes we have technical difficulties. I'll bring a guest in, and we'll talk about it. Do your challenge tomorrow. Look out in your inbox. I'll be sending you more things, and I have recipes to send you later on. So make sure, if you haven't already signed up, go to healthybrainchallenge.com. Get somebody else in here, because we're all going to get healthy together. All right, guys. So you know me, I'm Dr. Diane Thompson, triple board certified in physical medicine and rehabilitation, brain injury medicine, and lifestyle medicine. And I help people with neurological difficulties. I help them to adjust, adapt, and attain a new normal and a new lease on life. And people just like you who are trying to get and stay healthy, I help you with lifestyle medicine strategies so you can prevent, halt, and reverse your chronic diseases. And I encourage you to go to my website, drdianethompson.com. And when you get there, you can sign up for one of the free ebooks that I have on there. And if you haven't already signed up for the Healthy Brain Challenge. And I will see you tomorrow when we talk about the E in neurons. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.